Good morning. Welcome to our community yoga class on this Friday morning. I hope that at the end of class, you guys will take the chance to talk to each other, to say hi, to check in, see how things are going, and possibly even right before class, hopefully you were able to connect. All right. So we will be going through a pre-recorded class. So ask questions of people around you, and otherwise we will just move slowly through. It's a gentle practice, gentle morning practice designed to wake us up and get us going. Okay, so we're going to start in a comfortable seat. Again, you could be on a chair, you could be on the floor. And roll the shoulders up and back. Down the back, the body lifting the chest, and drop the nose toward the floor, closing or softening the gaze, closing the eyes or quieting the gaze. Connecting with the breath. Trying to move the breath into the belly and the ribcage region, all the way around the backside of the body. And also trying to expand the breath into the upper lungs, around the chest, around the collarbone, and the top of the shoulders. Trying to use the full capacity of the lungs. On your next inhale, we'll open the eyes and come back into the space. I'm going to start by bringing the hands to the shoulders, and let's start making circles with the elbows. See if we can make these be the biggest circles that we can. Keeping that breath flowing. And then we'll pause in that direction and circle the other way. Starting to build a little heat in the body. And then release the arms, place the hands down, keeping the chest lifted. Let's drop the nose toward the floor. And now draw circles with the tip of the nose. As big of circles as you can. And we'll pause in that direction and circle the other way. And then the next time that the nose is toward the floor, we'll pause there and then lift the head. All right. Let's take the legs out. So we undo the crisscross unless you were already sitting this way. And then go ahead and stay where you are. We're going to take a length up through the spine. So we're coming in the staff pose. We're going to bring the hands down by the hips. Lifting up to the top of the head. See if we can draw the shoulders back. So abdominals come in, help to support here. And then on an exhale, we're going to turn around the length of the spine to the left. So as we twist, make sure you don't fold forward or back. Twisting around the spine. Inhale, coming back to center. Exhale, other side. Again, twisting around the spine. On inhale, come on back to center, back into staff pose, toes up, head up. And then here, hinge at the hips and come on forward for a seated forward bend. And this may not be your full extension of seated forward bend. If your shoulders can stay back and the hands are free, try to keep the toes up. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there. Draw the knees in and work our way into hands and knees for a little cat-cow. So hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. When you're ready, tailbone up, chest up. Inhaling into cow pose. Exhaling into cat pose, arching the spine up toward the ceiling. Moving back and forth here. The next time that you come into cat pose with the arched back, we'll take the hips to the heels in a prayer pose. And then keep going, come back into your cow pose with the tailbone up and the head up. Exhaling into cat, and then the hips back to heels. Just making this into a bigger motion. And the next time that you're back into prayer pose, we'll pause there, breathing, reaching through the fingers. From here, we'll come back up to the hands and knees. Walk both hands to the right. So I'm going to walk them over and then take your hips back toward your heels. You're going to get a full stretch on the left side of the body. So hips back, reaching to the right. Inhale, we'll come on back up. We'll walk the hands back through center and then over to the other side. And once again, hips back toward the heels. inhale, we'll come back into hands and knees. I'm going to give you an option here. Option 1, you can tuck your toes and come up into a downward facing dog. If that doesn't work for you. Option 2, start to take the hips a little bit forward, coming into half plank pose. And so this one, you have full control over how much weight you take into your hands. If you're in downward facing dog, then your hands are still shoulder width apart, feet are hip distance apart, and now you definitely have some weight in the hands. So if you're in your half plank pose, you've got weight here too, but you get to control by virtue of moving the hips forward or back exactly how much weight you have in the hands. No matter which pose you're in, you're going to try to use the full span of your hands. Push into the fingers. And if you're in downward dog, you're going to be using those leg muscles to pull back behind to try to lighten a little bit the load on the hands. Now, if you're in downward dog, you're going to bring the knees back down. If you're in your half plank, you're going to bring the hips back over the knees to be in your hands and knees position. I'm going to walk the hands in closer to you. Tuck your toes underneath. See if you can really get your toes underneath of your feet. Keep walking your hands back and take your knees wide. So I'm going to come into a little bit of a balancing here. So you're on your toes, the knees are wide, walking the hands in, maybe coming onto the fingertips. And then if you can, bring the hands to the center of the heart. And then, if you want more, lift the head and the chest and balance on the toes. And then we'll release the hands back down. We're going to work our way up into standing. So it's any way that works for you. Take your time. Once you're up in Tadasana, mountain pose, we're down into the feet. On inhale, let's take the arms up and over the head, palms together, cross the thumbs, crescent pose to the right. So dropping down, shoulders in line. On an inhale, we'll come back up through center, change the cross of the thumbs. Exhale, crescent pose, other side. Inhale, back up to center and release the hands to the lower back bend. Tailbone comes forward, chest lifts, shoulder blades down the back. And draw the abdominals in to come on up. Want to reverse into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. The legs are lifting, upper body soft. And take the hands around the legs and start to pull in. Now, if you're just barely touching the floor or if your hands are on your shins, don't worry about that. But if you're all the way down, you can easily touch the floor. Then take your hands behind your legs and start to pull in so you can draw your nose in closer. Then release your hands. We'll take a slight bend of the knees, abdominals in, come on up to standing. Breathing, breathing. Feet hip distance apart, outside edges parallel. We'll take the hands to the hips and bend the knees. Push in the feet, come on back up. Exhale, bend the knees, maybe a quarter of an inch lower. Inhale, push in the feet, come on up. Exhale, come on down, chair pose. Balance your weight in your feet. So heel toe, left and right, the whole foot on the floor, tailbone toward the floor, and arms up if you like. Push in the feet, come on up, and release the arms. We're going to balance on the left leg and pick up the right heel. So just picking up the right heel, keeping your toes down. I'm going to circle at the ankle. So we're rotating here. Right, feel or hear some snap, crackle, pop going on. Oh, there's one. I'm going to pause in that direction, circle the other way. And set that heel down. I'm going to switch to the other side. So the right leg bears the weight. Pick up just the heel on the left foot and circle, rotating the ankle. Pause in that direction, circle the other way. And then set that heel down, or bend the knees, and if your hands can come to the knees, that's great. If they're on the thighs, that's fine too. I'm gonna circle at the knees. And pause in that direction, circle the other way. And coming back to center, come on up with the hands on the hips, and now hula hoop. You remember big hula hoops. Just kind of noticing if one side feels a little different. Noticing how the back's doing. And we'll pause in that direction, hula hoop the other way. And coming back to center, let's take a twist around the spine. And coming back to center, we're going to work a little bit on tree pose. We're going to balance on the right leg. Now, if you want the assistance of a chair, the back of the chair can be really helpful. A wall, piece of furniture, a finger on something can be really, really helpful. And take the right foot down and plant it. So I'm going to plant that foot into the earth. Toning the muscles of the right side, lighten the load on the left. When you're ready, coming into your tree. So you could have your toe down, knee out to the side. You could pick that foot up and place it somewhere on your standing leg. Now hands can be anywhere, to your hips, heart, out to the side, whatever you like. Keep the gaze soft, the breath flowing, and working at your edge. And then coming on out with control on that side. We're going to switch over to the other side, tree pose. So finding that left foot, left leg, rooting down into the earth. We'll bring up that right foot to any location you'd like for that foot, keeping the hips level, chest lifted, breath flowing, gaze soft, tree pose. And then coming on out with control. Set aside your chair if you need one. I'm going to move into warrior one. Right foot forward, left foot back. Square the hips, bend the front knee, tailbone down. Arms up. Virabhadrasana 1. So really connecting with your feet, feeling the tone in the legs and extending. So muscular energy in the legs and organic energy in the rest of the body, lifting up and out from that support. You're going to root into your back foot and lean forward here. Now you can release your hands to your hips or you can keep the arms where they are. So be strong in the legs. If you do have your arms forward, keep them by your ears, not dropping down. Inhale, coming back up to our warrior one. We'll bring the palms together at the heart. And now rooting into your back foot once again, leaning forward. And now open toward the right, revolve side angle pose. On an inhale, unwind, coming back into our warrior one. And release the arms, step the feet together, switching sides. Left foot forward, right foot back, squaring the hips. Front knee bends. You're ready. Virabhadrasana 1. Arms up. Again, if the arms are too much, you can always keep the hands on the hips. Then rooting into your back foot, we'll lean forward here. Again, option is too strong in the shoulders, hands to the hips. But you're taking more weight into your front foot, so you really got to push into your back foot. Inhale, coming on back up. Bring the hands together at the heart. Still rooting into your back foot. We'll lean forward and turn. Revolve, side angle pose, opening out to the left. Inhale and unwind, bringing the arms back up for warrior one. And release the hands, step the feet together. I'm going to work on a standing wide leg forward bend. Options here, you can use a chair, the seat of the chair. It's a way of bringing your hands down here. You can also use blocks. So if you have a couple of blocks, this will be a little lower than the chair. Coming down like this or at any height. If you are able to touch the floor, we'll start at the fingertips. So I'm going to take the feet wide, whatever wide is for you. Toes in, heels out. This is important. Toes in, heels out. So this way we have a double inner spiral on the thighs. And making sure that you feel solid. You're not so wide that you feel unstable. But balance your weight across heel or your toe, pinky toe side and big toe side. So see if you can be flat with the feet on the floor. And then from here, we'll hinge at the hips and come down. Keep tone in the legs, lifting the tailbone up as you drop down. So your hands are on the chair, on your blocks, or on the floor. Wherever you are here, draw your shoulder blades back away from your ears and towards your hips. Keeping that tone in the legs means that you can be light on the hands and still feel stable. Now, if you do have more flexibility, you may be able to bend your elbows, start to drop your head down toward the floor. Just an option. Now you'll know if your hips are too far behind, if your heels feel very heavy. You'll know if they're too far forward, if your toes feel very heavy. So try to balance that hip load between toes and heels. Then you'll know that you're right in center. If you bent your elbows, we're going to come back to straight elbows. And I'm going to take just the right hand onto your chair, block, or floor, directly under your nose. Then we'll take the left hand to the hip, and I'm going to stack the left hip or left shoulder on top of the right. So draw that shoulder back. You're going to rotate around the length of the spine. So lengthen out between tailbone, the top of the head, and then rotate around that axis. If your shoulder is stacked, you can release that left hand up toward the ceiling. On an inhale, I'm going to unwind and come back to center. Left hand now stays down. Same thing, lengthen from tailbone to top of the head. Release the right hand to the right hip and rotate. Stack the right shoulder on top of the left. And if they're stacked, you can release that hand. And then we'll unwind, coming back to center. I'm going to walk the hands back in. Take a bend to your knees, pushing into your feet. Use your leg strength. You're going to come on up. Abdominals in, supporting the spine. And now step your feet together. We're going to come down onto the floor, and you should have a blanket, some sort of padding. It could be a pillow. We're going to work on our knees here into gate pose. So you're going to want some padding. You're going to want a block or a book. And so we're going to come down on the knees. Right knee is padded with this blanket, just the right knee, and your block is out to the right. And then we're going to slide the left leg out. So you're standing on your knee, that's why we want that padding. And this left leg, the foot is in line with your hip, so it's straight out as if you were coming in a triangle pose. And then we're going to point the toes ballerina style. See if you can bring the foot to the floor. If you have to bend your knee to get your foot to the floor, it's more important to straighten the knee and have your toes up. It's just a directional heading that way with getting the toes down. Okay, now if you think about triangle pose, similar idea, we're in a line. We're going to try to maintain that line with the shoulders and the hips. So we're going to take the right hand down to your block. There can be any height of your block. And then keeping those shoulders in line, I'm going to take your left hand up and all the way over your head. So you're going to connect from your toes. Did I say left? I don't know which way. I don't remember if I'm mirroring or not. So you're going to reach from the toes that are on the floor through the fingertips. Now, if you want to come lower on your block, you can. You can even lose the block and come all the way to the floor. This is gate pose. On the inhale, we're going to come on back up to that starting place. We're going to close the gate. So you're going to take your hand and slide it down that extended leg. Your other hand draws to the hip to start. Draw your shoulder back and then release the hand up and over the head. So now if you remember crescent pose, we're coming down in a similar fashion. On the inhale, we'll come on back up. And now you can release that side. We're going to switch to the other side. And since I don't remember if I called right or left, we're just going to come to whatever's the other side for you. I'm going to extend out that leg. And remember, we're coming into a line. I'm going to reach the toes toward the floor. They may or may not touch. Take that opposite hand down to your block. And your other hand up and over the head, reaching away from the toes that are on the floor. A nice side body stretch in our gate pose. On an inhale, we'll come on back up. And now closing the gate. Take that hand down the extended leg. Opposite hand on the hip to draw the shoulder back. Keep the shoulder back. And bring that hand up and over. On inhale, we'll come on up and release. I'm going to bring that blanket out now and come down onto your back. So all the way down on the floor. But grab a hold of a block if you have one. So I'm going to come down with a block close by. So on your back, feet on the floor. Let's just take the feet wide and bring the knees together to rest. Resting the knees together. And bring the hands to the belly. Breathing into the belly. Then we'll release the hands up toward the ceiling. It doesn't matter if you have palms toward each other or palms away. I'm going to take the hands now over your head, all the way overhead. Try to keep the rib cage from popping up toward the ceiling. So with the arms overhead, see if you can soften the rib cage back down. And then we'll bend the elbows and see if you can grab a hold of the elbows with your hands. So over the arms or over your head. And then thinking about which arm is on top, we're going to switch. So you have the other arm on top. And then releasing the arms, we'll bring them back down by your sides. We'll open up the knees, bringing the feet on the floor about hip distance apart. Knees are now hip distance apart. Grab a hold of your block. You have 3 levels of your block: low, medium, and high. I'm going to come into a supported bridge pose. I'm going to push into your feet, lift the hips up, slide your block under, and set the hips back down. Now you should be on a spot that's not in your lumbar curve. You're supporting the sacrum bone, the pelvic bone as well. You might go to draw your shoulders under a little more. Supported bridge pose. So again, it's not on your back at all. It should feel fairly comfortable and pretty stable. From here, you can, if you want, you can lift your left foot up toward the ceiling, if that feels okay. If that's pinching in the back, just keep the foot down and stay in supported bridge pose. You know, just the left foot up. Leave your left foot up, we'll bring that foot back down, and now switch, take the right foot up. Again, just an option, you could be in just supported bridge pose. Bend, then you bring that foot back down if it's up. And from here, you can walk your feet forward and you keep going. You might find you can straighten out your knees, and if that feels okay in the back. If it doesn't feel okay in the back, just walk the feet back in enough until you can feel a bit of a stretch on the front side of the body. You may, if you do have your knees straight, then you might feel a bit of an arch in your back, into a back bend. We'll walk the feet back into the supported bridge. Now push into your feet, lift the hips, remove the block, and then lower the hips back down to the floor. Once you're down, go ahead and bring your knees in. You can hold your knees or your shins. You might rock side to side, you might do a little rotating around the sacrum. And then we'll bring the feet back down to the floor. We're going to have the feet about mat width apart. Take your arms out to the side. You want to drop the knees from one side and then the other. Just massaging the back. Massaging back, opening hips. Now your head is free. You could move your head in the opposite direction that the knees go. Just rotating back and forth. If your neck is okay with that. And then coming back to center, I'm going to release the hands down by the hips, extend the legs long. Breathing here in corpse pose. We're only going to be here for a couple of minutes. So allowing the body to soften, to relax. And then deepen the breathing. Allow movement to come back into the body. Bend the knees, feet on the floor. Take your right hand up and over your head and roll onto the right side so that your head rests on your arm. And then we'll work your way up to sitting. Any way that works for you, keeping that quiet in the mind. Bringing your hands together at the heart. Repeating a mantra to yourself, this mantra being, I am ready for my day. I have completed my yoga and it has prepared me for my day. I thank you all for joining and for sharing your practice today. I hope that you'll take a minute to say hi to each other. Namaste.